Well, hello. So this lesson we're going to talk about an introduction to polynomials. Now we'll talk more about exactly what that is, but let's talk about the anatomy of a term first. Let's write something like 3x squared. Now, hopefully we know what each part of these is, but just in case for a quick review, the 3 is a coefficient. Coefficient is the number being multiplied by, that brings us to what x is. X here is a variable. So a coefficient is a number that multiplies to a variable. And then, of course, the little 2 floating around up here, this is, of course, the exponent. So those are the pieces of all of these things. However, all of them together, the coefficient, the variable, and the exponent together create what's called a term. Now, terms are separated by addition or subtraction. Subtraction is actually addition. So yes, instead of or, we'll say addition slash subtraction. So this is a single term right here, but if I was to add plus, I don't know, something like 5x, now these are two separate terms that are being added together. The sum of terms, and what I mean by sum, again, I'm talking about adding or subtracting. The sum of terms is what creates a polynomial. And actually, a single term can be a polynomial as well. We'll talk about that, more about that in just a moment. But for right now, let's talk about what a polynomial is. Polynomial has a prefix poly, which is something you may have heard before, and then it has this a suffix, or the actual word here is nomial. Nomial means nomenclature or names or terms, essentially. Terms. But the prefix poly, where else have you heard poly? Polynomials, polygons, polymers. Poly is a prefix that means many. So polynomials literally means just many terms. Right, so that's a little bit about the anatomy of each piece. When I say coefficient, variable, and exponent, I hope you know what I'm talking about. Polynomials are terms that are separated by addition or subtraction. But here's something else about polynomials: is polynomials can be named two ways. Let's talk about these two ways. The first one of the ways that we can name them is by the number of terms. One of the ways is by the number of terms. So, for example, if we have a single term polynomial, I don't need to circle that, sorry about that. If there's just a single polynomial, or a single term, I should say, that is called a monomial. Mono meaning one, like a monocle, or mono is solo. But an example of that might be like 3x to the fourth. That is a single term. Even though it's got a coefficient, a variable, and everything else, there's just one thing there. That is a monomial. Even something like 7x to the fifth, y to the eighth. That is a single term. That is a single term. There's no addition or subtraction, right? So that's not doing what I wanted to. So that is a single term. Even the number 6, right? There's no addition or subtraction. That is a single term, a monomial. If there's two terms, that is called a binomial. Example of this might be 3x to the fourth plus 7x squared. Now I have two terms that are being separated. I'm going to change colors here. Another one could be x minus 4, right? X is a single term. 4 is a single term. Those are two terms that is a binomial. Take a guess. What do you think 3 is? It is a trinomial. An example of that might be 3x to the fourth plus 7x squared minus 8. Those are three separate terms that are separated by addition and subtraction. And the last one is 4 or more. 4 or more, I'll tell you what, instead of 4 or more, I'm going to call it 4 plus. If we have 4 or more, that's going to be just a generic polynomial. Rather than creating a new name for each one of the number just from 4 and after, we're just going to stick with straight up poly. All right, so that's the first way of being able to add these together is by the number of terms. The second way that we can name a polynomial is by degree. Now, what is a degree, Smith? The degree is the largest exponent. The largest exponent. So, let's give you a couple of examples here. So, first one, let's talk about something that is to the fourth degree. And that's going to be called a quartic. Fourth is quart, right? Like think about quarts and stuff, but it's quartic function. So an example of this might be 3x to the fourth plus 7x squared minus 8. So, tell you what is the name of this thing here by the number of terms? Well, there's 1, 2, 3 terms. It's a trinomial. However, what is the largest exponent? The largest exponent is this 4. And so that is to the fourth degree. That's the largest exponent, right? I have an exponent to the second degree. The largest one is 4. This is a quartic trinomial. Quartic trinomial. Let's do another one. Let's go to the third degree. The third degree is called a cubic. And that might be something like 3x squared minus 7x cubed plus 4. Now, here's the thing. This one here is not in the best form. Well, let's look at it. What is the degree here? Well, the degree, I got 3x to the squared, but then I got x to the third here. So 3 is the largest exponent. That's why this is a cubic trinomial. Now, we should write this where the biggest exponents are listed first. So, for example, this should be negative 7x to the third would be first. Then we would add the plus 3x squared and then plus 4. This is called standard form. It's in descending order. The exponents are listed in descending order. But the way it's written here, just being able to identify what the degree is, that is the important part. But this would be the standard form of that. Let's keep going. To the second degree. The second degree is called a quadratic. Second degree is a quadratic. So an example of this might be x squared minus 9. The degree, the largest exponent, is the 2. There's 2 more here. We have the first degree. That is going to be linear. And that is something like 1/2 x plus 9. Even though the exponent's not there, if there's nothing there, there is a 1 there. And the last one is 0 degree. And that would be a